All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Nuestra Life. I am your host, Eduardo. My very special guest here. I was introduced to him by my last guest, Bebes. He spoke a little bit about him, and I was intrigued. I mean, me myself, I love comedy, and this guy, he told me check this guy out, and so here we are.
Yeah,
How you doing
man.
today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm another one of those guys with funny names, like Brian Moore is my name, but I go by BMO. And That's awesome that Bebes put us together, man. And you were actually able to come out and come to the comedy show too, which was nice. Did you have a good time?
Oh, I had an amazing time, dude. My wife went with me, and we had a great time. Obviously, the food at SP is awesome. Also, the,
Kills
the
it.
customer service, the comedy, it was perfect. I enjoyed every little bit. And I want to appreciate you, man. Thank you for giving me some time of your day to uh to do this, man. I know comedy and you are just people just busy. You got stuff to do.
now it's
Yeah.
been slow for a really long time, and we've been doing, honestly, I think a lot of comics have been doing a lot of podcasts because it's a good outlet,
Mhm.
and we're used at the time, we were performing, 5, 6 nights a week, and a lot of that time it was the 6 or 7 people in a bar that weren't really paying attention. So doing
Right.
like a podcast that has, like, 10, 20, 50, doesn't matter how many listens, that's like more than we were getting on stage anyway.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and a lot of other comics were doing it. Um, so during the pandemic, I felt like I did a lot of this, which was actually kind of fun because just talking stuff out, you learn some weird shit about yourself, you write some new material, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
uh, but now it is more difficult because to do stuff like this, to be honest, because shows are open everywhere.
Now that everything's starting to open up again, where
Yeah.
they're expecting what June 15th, I believe, the no mask mandate and everything's gonna start. I'm assuming fully open up.
That's what June 15th is supposed to be literally no restrictions. We're back to where we were.
Hmm.
Now restaurants, like, they're going to be able to do full capacity. Customers are going to be able to do whatever they want. But I believe that masks are going to stay in the service industry for a little bit while longer. I think that's
Yeah.
going to happen. But nonetheless, like, shows are already kind of back. And now this will just allow people to have more people at shows, to allow them to make a little bit more money.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm just excited because I went from doing like no stage time at all to where now I'm I'm to the point where I'm probably gonna do in June probably I'd say almost 20 shows. And so that's really cool. Like, I can't tell you how much, like, I've been dying to get back on stage because I'm like, that's where I have the most fun. And so to have all that back is great. But it does, like you said, it makes it hard to make time for other things, and I got
Yeah.
to make sure that I do that.
You have to make some sort of effort to make time for the little things. And
Absolutely.
well, let's go back a little bit. So you're born in San Jose, or where were you born?
Yeah, I was born in San Jose. Spent a little bit of time, like in like with my grandparents in Morgan Hill, and so it was more like South Bay kid for most of it. And um then I grew up in Campbell, but then went to school in downtown San Jose, worked in downtown San Jose. I was like a club promoter in college. Um and I just like being in front of people and organizing stuff, and I was the reason that I was a draw is because I was kind of funny. You know what I mean? I was like, because I don't know, that's just how I got my little small group of people to show up to bars and stuff like that, was just what kind of being funny. And then when they got there, kind of being funny for them and being like
Right.
an entertaining guy, right? And but that subsided with other career aspirations. I got into the beer industry pretty heavy, and I spent uh, pretty much the last 10 years in beer, whether it be a sales rep, or just like a bartender, all the way up to a general manager for a brewery. Um, and it was awesome. Like, I spent a lot of time doing that, but at the end of that career is where I found comedy. And so now comedy is kind of like, over the last, I'd say, 2 years, has been like my draw. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
So where did the actual comedy come from? Where, or the love for comedy? Was it, were you a class clown in high school and college too, or is it just something that you just kind of?
Well, I was always like I was always kind of like a standout. Like I didn't have like a lot of groups of friends. Like I was friends with a lot of different people, but I didn't have like I wasn't in one of those like groups of friends very like that you saw in high school.
Yeah.
And so it made me like this weird anomaly. So when I did like hang out in your little circle thing, whatever, maybe a football party or this or that, it was like, who's this guy? And then I could do my little jokes and be weird and then be like, oh, this guy's kind of cool. And then I'd be out of there and you wouldn't like see me
Yeah.
again. And that's just how you know me, is like that fucking weird little dude that just came up and made a couple of jokes and was, I don't know. But I think I was just always like a fan of stand up. Like I watched and consumed so much stand up. And even at a young age, my mom would let me watch those HBO 1 hour specials. So I'm 37. So, in the 90s, um, like even I would say like late 80s or early 90s, I was allowed to watch like all that stuff. And so, but I never really thought to do it until I met another comedian. He came into the brewery, Santa Clara Valley Brewing, that I was the GM of
Hmm.
for like 2018, 19. And he was just a nice guy that came in and he'd like have a beer and watch basketball. When I found out he was a comedian and we just started talking about comedy, he was like, dude, you should do this. Like, he's like, I'm telling you, like,
Lit
I
that
do this.
fire under you.
He was just like, he said, just you telling me the stories like about your past is cracking me the fuck up. You could make these jokes. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I tried it and I had some early success right away. And then it's just super addicting. It's like anything else. Like once you get that one crowd to just like give you a reaction, even if it's just like one time during your 5 minutes, when you get that one, just like, what it's it's the most addicting drug on the planet, I think.
Yeah. And so did you, so you got a lot of the starting, your first couple ones were here in San Jose. Where were they located at? Like
So
what was
actually,
it?
the very first show I ever did, I just threw a show. So
Oh,
like,
you had your own that you,
yeah, at Santa Clara Valley Brewing, the owner at the time was like very into comedy too, and he
uh-huh.
had befriended a kind of like a road feature. This guy who had an Amazon special. He was a working comic for a long time and very funny. And they had befriended each other because they had the same name. They were named Tom Clark, and I guess my boss Tom Clark tried to buy TomClark.com from the comic, but he told Tom Clark that he couldn't have TomClark.com because I'm a comedian. So anyway, right? A lot
Right.
of Tom Clarks, and but he knew Avery Harmon, who's the comic that pushed me to do comedy.
Hmm.
Like we were all kind of friends at the brewery at this point, and so he's like, "I'll call Tom Clark. You guys do it." And Tom Clark's wife, Steph Clark, is also a comic, very talented in her own right, right? So we had 4 people for the show and we just threw a show and I hosted a comedy show for my very first set ever. And
That's crazy.
I did terrible,
You bombed.
awful. Like, okay, so first, like every mistake that you could make, like I took the mic off the mic stand and left the mic right in front of me. So like there's just like a pole
Hmm.
like in front of my set, right? For no reason, like just like this, right? And but then I'm like moving around, I'm playing with the freaking mic cord. I'm taking way too long to like I'm acting like I got 20 minutes when I got to be precise.
Hmm.
It was awful. It was awful. It was the worst thing ever. But then I did okay as like a host, like introducing and stuff. But I was so like crushed by that moment, but I knew I could do it. So like I didn't even do another set for like I think almost 3 months. And I just did like practice in my own home and like was like learned and watched what they did and tried to be choppy. I came out the second time and I hosted for another like road feature
Hmm.
and I crushed. And I was like, that's what you can do. And then ever since then, I was like, I dove into it. But I have to be honest, that first crowd, or the first and second crowd were almost the same people because it was the brewery crowd. Like they were super excited to
Okay,
see
so they've
me and
been there
everything.
before. They've seen your set before.
Well, yeah, they came to the first one and were like, okay, Brian, hope you're gonna do better this time. And so it was like my crowd. It was like people that wanted me to do well. So it wasn't. I measure that differently, but it definitely got me into it. And I've had my ups and downs and different successes with it, but that's how comedy is. Like, I hear the best comedians bomb still, and so
Yeah.
that gives me like, so if Bill Burr bombs, then I don't care. Then I can bomb too. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it used to feel like that.
Yeah. And so you had support from family and friends, and they would always go to your shows too at the brewery, or was it mostly just like your parents or your family knew that you were funny already, so they're like, we don't need to go, or were they the ones that were like, no, I'm gonna be there the front row and support 100%?
That second one,
Yeah.
my mom is, bruh. When I was in college doing the uh I don't know. I don't know if I told you this, but when I was a club promoter in college, it was at Cucini's, which coincidentally enough is SP2.
Oh, was it
Yeah. And
same owners, or they just
no, way different,
completely
like 3 or
different?
4 different owners, but the exact same space. And my mom, when I was a club promoter, was the lady at the door collecting money. Like, she stood in, like, while we were partying and wilding, my mom was at the front door, like,
So you
with
guys been
all,
on that brick road for a while now.
yeah, dude. And my mom is just, dude, she steps up in like the weirdest ways. And when it comes to, like, if you're passionate or you're working on stuff, she's driven out to some weird shows where there's like nobody there and just sat in the audience and laughed her ass off at jokes that she's heard 37 times. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, but then, like I say, my pops, my brother, my sister, they show up to, like, when I say, yo, I need you guys at this one because it's a big one. All of them, they bring friends, but I also just lived in the area a lot. So a lot of the time, if you can bring 15 to 20 people to a venue, that's killing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think anybody that has lived in San Jose as long as I have, and probably you have, I would assume, you could get
Close.
you could get 15 people to show up at a comedy show. You'd be like, yo, I got a show, come to this. You don't have to
Right.
be funny. Like, they'll come.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Especially if you have some sort of repertoire already with them,
right.
and
But
then
the other
yeah.
thing was the brewery just had a lot of dedicated fans. They weren't necessarily there for me, but they were supporters of the brewery. And so that was nice because they got to know me through stand up a little bit as I grew, because they got to watch, like, pretty much like my first set, second set, and then even as I moved on, I kept doing that show monthly and
Hmm.
not doing as much on the outside as I should have. So they might have seen like 5 or 6 of my first 10 sets ever. So they really got to watch me grow. And so a lot of those people stuck with me. A lot of those people are still coming to shows and being supportive. So I'm very fortunate that way.
So
100%.
at what point in your comedy career so far did you when you became BMO, or would you just from the get go you were already, you know what, I'm just going to stick with this. This is
I was always BMO. I I don't know when that exactly started, but it was somewhere in my 20s, and it just started sticking where it was like BMO, BMO, BMO. Because first of all, like, how many Brians are there? How many, like, oh, which Brian? You know, the short white guy. You know,
you
like,
know you know what's actually pretty funny. You said your last name is what again? Mora?
more. Yeah.
Moore. Okay,
Yeah.
close, because I went to high school with a guy named Brian Mora.
Oh, see, that's
So
what people
that's why
think
I
my
was
last
like,
name would be.
ooh, I was like, that's kind of close.
That's what people think my last name would be. But actually, funny enough, I'm Greek. Um, and if my family followed tradition, my name would be like Miltiadis Yorgos Kaladzakis or some shit like that. It would be fucked up. So Brian Moore's fine. I can be BMO.
You imagine at that point, you know, that you probably might be Mexican of some sort because it has all the last names. You get four
Yeah.
last names when you get that.
Yeah, dude. It's funny because most people assume, like, when they see me, when I say my name's BMO, it does, like, if I say my name's Brian Moore, they're like, okay, that's a white guy, with a very, very Latino look right here
Hmm.
going on, right? But when I
A
say
little
BMO,
desperado look.
yeah,
The mustache. We just need to get you a guitar, man.
bruh,
You, you have it already?
don't make me,
Oh,
don't
bro.
make me, don't make me bust it out.
Go for it. There you
No,
go.
I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing. It's
Oh
a prop.
man.
It's a prop. It's a prop. My fiance is a musician. That's hers.
Oh, there you go.
Um, anyway,
That,
I actually I remember where the BMO thing came from, because when I was a promoter, I had some kind of dumbass promoter name. And then my friend's like, no, you should be more with yourself. That's be more. That's what his whole thing was, be more with yourself. And that was like his whole thing with me. So he's like, I'm gonna call you Be More. And then of course that shortened into Be Mo eventually. So yeah,
That's
I guess
dope though. That's actually kind of cool.
yeah, I forgot about that. Damn. Wow. Dude, you're taking me back in it's like a time portal right now, bro. How'd you do that?
It's magic, bro.
So
But
wait, this is episode what are we doing
this
here?
would be episode 3.
3. I love
Yeah,
it. I love it.
episode 3. So there you go. You already made top 5.
Top 5, baby.
There you go.
Yeah,
See,
history, dude. I get to now, you know, it's funny. Now I get to be like a weird, like a hipster about your podcast. Like, I was on from the beginning, bro. You don't even know. I
you
support
don't
from
even
day
know.
one. When you get super famous, I get to be hella hipster about you, dude.
Hey, I'll take you with me, dude.
Let's
You'll be
go.
the comedy right there. I'll do the podcast episodes, and I'll bring you in for some comedy, and we're set.
I'm into it.
Then we got Bebes to hook us up with the venue and stuff, and
And the music,
and the good food there.
I mean, this is a combo. This is a combo. We should get the comics to start doing your podcast, or even, you know, what's funny? You know what we could do, because this one guy did this, and SB2 actually has like the build for it. Because when I did the shows at Santa Clara Valley Brewing, we started a different show called Pick Your Poison, and I'll promote that later. But and it's still going. But what's dope is we had the show in the brewery, but then this dude had a podcast going on we did the show in the tap room, excuse me.
Okay.
And then they would do a podcast in the brewery. And so the comics, as they were coming off, like they would like say how they felt about the show, because they would do 2 sets, and the first one was improvised. So they do the improvised set first, and then come back and be like, yo, how was that? And be like, man, that was really hard, or this was really funny, and blah 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 blah. And then they go do their regular set, and they just keep coming out and doing this dope podcast. So maybe we could like set up a little podcast area. I don't know. Let's have a Brick Road Crack Ups edition of the podcast, you know, a little side bus podcast.
A little breakdown of what's going on while they're setting up, because that'd be actually kind of cool, because I would like to know the process in the mind of the comedian, of what's going on in their head when, like you said, there's 2 sets, especially for the ones you guys did at the brewery. Like, how do they feel? Like, do they feel like they did really good, you know, or maybe they could have changed up a joke or somehow? And I don't know, that'd be kind of, I would like that.
Yeah, that was fun. And it was, what we made sure to do was make it like super optional, because some of the comics like didn't want to like they did really bad and didn't want to like go talk on a podcast about it, you know.
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of the times too, like they do that set, they come off, and they might only have like 10 minutes before they have to go up again.
Mm-hmm.
And so spending like 5 of that brain power on a podcast when you really need to get your head together for your set is like, you know, it can be difficult. And so they'd be like, nah, I don't want to do it.
They got better things to do right now.
Well, their focus is
right.
Like, if you do bad in that first set, you don't want to do anything but focus on your next set so that you could crush. Because even when I do well, if I have to do another show after, like when I'm hosting, for example, at SB2,
Mm-hmm.
like I did my set in the beginning. Did you come early enough to see my set?
I saw there's yeah, I was gonna mention something about that one, but I was just like, I don't want to.
It was great.
I think the opening joke is the one that got me hooked right away.
Yeah, save it.
Yeah. I even told my wife yesterday about it, and I was telling her that, you know, I was gonna have you on, and we were remembering all the jokes from all the guy Opitz and the other guys. It was hilarious, dude. I personally enjoyed everything.
Yeah, and you know what? We're gonna be back there on the 30th. I actually just got that confirmation like right before the podcast.
There you go. See, breaking news.
Breaking news.
I'll make sure to get some noise in there. So make the podcast legit, you know.
You know what's so funny is, so you see that I got the little scroll bar at the bottom?
Yeah, I was looking at that.
So like I'm using a program called OBS, and it's what I used to for Twitch, and it's dope. Like I used it for comedy, and I'll show you a couple of things on it. Like, so people like to do a lot of who you look like jokes. So I started adding pictures so people could like see. So I'd be like, oh, I kind of look like Johnny Depp, you know, right?
You guys have to.
Right?
I'm gonna be posting this one on my YouTube channel. You guys have to see the video for that. That one
Hey, wait,
actually.
there's a better one too, though. Somebody said like fucking Robert Downey Jr. Come on, man.
Holy, dude, that is crazy. Yeah,
Tony Stark in the house, boy.
dude.
But then there's people like the people don't know. And
Uh,
somebody said I look like this Mark Rebele dude. And he's like he does like crazy ass songs on YouTube and shit like that. He's funny as
does
hell. But
impressions no?
I
He
haven't seen
looks
him do.
familiar.
Yeah, and dude, there's so many. And then fucking Logic. Come on, man. If I
Dude, that is actually kind of crazy.
come on, man. But so I use that, and this also has this little like scroll bar thing at the bottom. That's helped. But it also has a soundboard, but I haven't figured out. I didn't get the right plug in, but I could have like given us some noise right there, and I just I'm not
You-
prepared.
yeah, this one, the actual equipment that I bought for the podcasting, it does come with a soundboard. I get to choose which one I want. It has like an applause. It has the DJ scratch. It
Right.
actually does the no pun
Yeah,
intended,
that
but I think it's called the rim job.
rim
The
shot.
whole rim shot. See, there you go. See, I don't know none about that stuff, man. I don't even know what it's
Hey
called
man, the
more. See,
millennials know all about that stuff, dude.
it's good. It's because I was thinking of your your opening jokes. Man, dude, yeah. So I might have to find one that has the like the breaking news thing or the sports center.
I think is I got that one because I do like a little sports show on Twitch, and that's like I have a little button where I hit, and it does this like whole little.
Which your I was looking at it, your Twitch is 100, was it BTV?
Yeah, 100 BTV. It's because like I couldn't get BTV by itself, and I didn't want to make it like BMO TV because there's another guy that really helped me. Like he helps do a lot on the channel. Like we don't do too much with it like
Uh-huh.
we did during the pandemic, but we do a lot of fantasy sports on the outside, so there's a lot of personal communication like in the chats and stuff, and people that get involved with it. But yeah, it's cool, man. It's just my outlet. I always wanted to be like Stuart Scott and Kenny Mayne, the Sports Center anchors as a kid.
Mhm.
That was one of my things. And during the pandemic, I kind of had that outlet on Instagram and Facebook, and then moved it over to Twitch. And like I say, it's more just an outlet for me. It's not something I don't like highly promote it or anything.
How often do you actually stream though on that thing?
Once a week usually, sometimes twice. But then another guy does some Instagram live stuff for the we have like a pretty intense baseball league where we have like minor leaguers. Like I'm talking, we got like 19-year-old kids on our team because they're the little brother of superstars right now and stuff. It's ridiculous. And so I don't have time to do as much on that. So there's another guy who, like I say, who contributes.
Right.
Um,
And
it's really for like 15 people for now.
well, 16, I'll definitely get on there and
Yeah, man.
check
We'll,
it
we'll,
out.
we'll get you. We need do you. I don't know if this is nerdy as shit, but if I don't know if you play fantasy football, but we got spots open for the BTV fantasy football league.
Oh snap.
Yep. I might sponsor you. I might put you in for free first year just to lure you in.
Just there you go. You were speaking of the baseball, which is a good segue. I just noticed that you guys have an event coming up at Excite Park.
Yeah, man. So first and foremost, I gotta mention my comedy partner, Ruben Escobedo the third. He and I do Pick Your Poison together, the show I was mentioning. It was actually his creation, and he brought it to the brewery I was working at. And so, it's his idea, and then I helped execute. And so now I get to be his partner. So I get to ride his coattails. No, but we're in season 5 right now of Pick Your Poison. And then we got to do one of the seasons at Excite Ballpark.
Which you guys
and
can see at the bottom, season 5 for now.
yeah,
I know it's on
bang.
Zoom Wednesday. Look at that, right on time. See,
Right on time, 7:00. It's on Zoom. We got 7 really talented comics, honestly, because we're able to get talent from near and far on Zoom because you literally unlimited. As long as they've got a couple hours in front of their computer, we can book them. So
is it a form of a competition between?
it is. So I'll break it down a little bit. So Ruben's initial idea was um, you have 5 comics and there's 5 envelopes where there's like 6. Like at the time, we didn't know how many topics. We now have 6 topics in the envelopes, and so they're picking their poison. And inside the envelopes were just like absurd, like quotes or word flips or puns, or
Mm-hmm.
like one of them is why is Santa wearing Daddy's watch? There's like some really gross ones that I'm not gonna put on here. One's like vegan barbecue restaurant. Just kind of goofy stuff, and then they have to do material on that for 5 minutes
Off the top of the head.
off the top of the dome. And um no matter the skill level, it's difficult for some and easy for others, and we're always really surprised. But whoever the audience would vote on who they liked the best out of those 5 people, and
Mm-hmm.
all of them get to come back and perform their prepared material in that second set that I was talking about.
Yeah.
But whoever gets picked, whatever poison the audience picked, gets to go last and do more time, and they become the headliner of the show. Now, we book 5 comics that are headlining, that could all do that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
but then what we did is, what we decided to do in that first season, or that after that very first one, I said, let's do 5 of them and have a championship. So that's what we did. We had 5 regular season, and then took the one winner and had them face off for a championship, and ultimately had like a champion of Pick Your Poison season 1. And so we did that again at another brewery. Then we did it on Zoom once the pandemic hit. Then we did one at the ballpark where we didn't bring people back because it was too difficult. So we just kind
Mm-hmm.
of had outdoor champions, but that was dope because that was literally on the baseball field.
The field
With
itself.
what's that?
The field itself.
Yeah, the field itself. We were standing on home plate, with cars parked around us on like the outfield grass and all around the, like behind home plate and first base and third base lines,
Mm-hmm.
through the PA. And Ruben and I, like, we were like so above our, like below, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, but we made it work. And it kind of, I don't know, like we were doing pretty well as producers before that, but I think
Uh-huh.
that when because they approached us, the San Jose Giants reached out to us and was like, hey, do you want to Pick Your Poison to the ballpark and this and that? And we're like, yes, of course. So Ruben and I jumped at it. And
How
but we
crazy
didn't.
was that interaction?
What's that?
How crazy is that interaction of them hitting you up instead of
Well,
you guys going out and trying to find somewhere? They were like, you know what? We found these people. Let's hit them up.
Well, we were doing a lot. We were at multiple breweries. We'd forged some really good relationships around town, and even kind of with the San Jose Giants. Like we had some ins on, like they knew who we were. I could just
Okay.
say that, right? Like they were definitely aware of us, and so it was really nice to have that opportunity. But we'd done well for ourselves around. They trusted us, and that was really good. And I think the most part was, from a really early on standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
Ruben had a good awareness of like what the show needed to like be for the audience. And I'm very thankful for that, because I had more of like a business mind. I knew how to I knew we had to charge for tickets. Like Ruben didn't want to charge for tickets. I'm like, we have to, so that we can guarantee we pay the comics, and it doesn't come out of our pockets. And he was like, he didn't like that idea, but he made it work. And that's what made us like cool, because we could pay comics a lot on a Tuesday at a bar show.
Right.
and
And it gets them to keep coming back
and it
instead of
also,
them.
right,
Yeah.
and it delivered a product that people knew, like to
Mm-hmm.
your point, they would come back because they knew it was going to be 5 new comics the next time, competing with all these new topics. And so it just became a thing you could follow. um but Ruben knew how to like really make the room right. And so I think both those things combined, like when the San Jose Giants representatives and management and whoever would be around, they saw like a good product, so they trusted us to like do that there. And you know man, I don't want me to, I feel like I'm bragging on that, but I'm super proud of like what we both did, because we earned it,
Nah, you should be proud of me. You should, talk about it as much as you can because
Right.
you're working on it. That's your product that you're putting out there to the world.
Well, and you gotta have Ruben on, dude. He's fucking so funny, man. And
Mhm.
he's actually the mascot for the San Jose Giants now. After us working there, they had the opportunity, and so he's Gigante.
Dude, I saw, you know what? So I knew who, like I told you before when we met at the SP.
Yeah.
I used to work security at the Giants, the San Jose Giants, and I knew who the guy was, the guy that was Gigante. And
Mm-mm-mm.
then like maybe I want to say 2 months ago, maybe a month ago, maybe more than that, they had announced that they were looking for a new Gigante.
Yeah, yeah,
And I was just like, man, I saw how much fun he had, and I was like, you know what, that'd be kind of interesting for me to
yeah,
like. I'll be like, I don't probably don't have the dance moves, but dude, how much fun it looks like that guy had. I'm like,
yeah,
I might
man,
do it, man. But that's
yeah,
so
man.
cool though. We definitely might have him on, and
Yeah, he's got
maybe
some.
he might even come in as Gigante.
He's got some stories, man. He's got some stories.
Yeah,
And if you ever do on-site stuff, maybe you could do it at the stadium with him. That'd be kind of cool.
that would be dope.
But yeah, man, it's Pick Your Poison definitely was like the backbone of what helped like solidify me as like, because being a producer in comedy is a whole lot more than just being a comedian, and it opens up a different like avenue for you to meet people.
Hmm.
And um having something that lasted more than a year before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and now is coming back after, it really said something about like that we're gonna be here. And I think that's been really helpful for both our comedy careers. And now we're starting to do all kinds of stuff. Like we're producing our own shows. Obviously, I'm doing the SP2 one, and then Ruben and I are doing the one at the ballpark, but it's in the Futures Club, in
Okay,
that bar in left field, and that one's coming up on the 17th.
the big
Uh,
canopy area that's in the
that's
left
right.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's called, Out of Left Field. That's the name of the show. Um, and that bang, they've been really good. They've been really good. Line Drive-In was
Hmm.
the name of one of them too. I like that because
Oh, so they come up with the name.
no, we do.
Oh, you do. Okay.
Yeah, me, Ruben and I do. Ruben and I do.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we had another one called You're Out. Um, and that was like a big feature show, so that was cool. Yeah, I liked our names, man.
Yeah, no, I mean,
You're Out was a good one because no one could go outside. It's like right when we first started to get to come back, so it was perfect. Like,
so
and
this one that's going to be on the 17th, it's going to be out of left field, like you're saying, in the Futures Club. Is it? And it's, but you said it was going to be on Zoom, so there's going to be no
no, no,
people
no, no.
there
So no, Pick Your Poison is on Zoom on the 16th,
on the 16th.
and then Out of Left Field is actually at the ballpark in that canopy live. That's live. That's you got to
Okay.
get your ticket, and you park in center field, and you actually walk through the center field fence and along the
Mhm.
warning track over and come on in and sit down. If you do come to that, dress warm. Bring a blanket. Bring a blanket. Um,
Where can they get the tickets at? Is it
uh,
at the Giants website?
you can go Giants website. My Instagram, BMO makes you laugh. BMO makes you laugh. It's a link in my in I don't know, what do you say, link in my bio, I think is what the
Yeah,
kids call it. Yep, there's so that
the millennials. You saying?
there's also a Facebook event that is public. If you search Out of Left Field at Excite Ballpark, then I think even if you just search Excite Ballpark and you go there and on
It'll
Facebook, you
pop
can
up,
find it there too. Yeah.
and I'll
Um,
definitely have it on my Instagram and my YouTube channel and everywhere I have my podcast stuff. I'll definitely be out there
yeah,
and putting up the
much,
link and all that. And I
much.
know for sure it's gonna kill, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's gonna be a good one, man. And I like Sammy Obeid, the headliner. I'm very fortunate that we've just like worked around some similar people, and he did our Zoom show, and so he kind of he I guess he kind of knew who I was enough where I could ask him to do it. But he's has a show on Netflix, a small series called 100 Humans, where he's the host. It's friggin' awesome. Go check that out on Netflix.
100 humans.
100 Humans. And it's not a stand-up show. It's actually like a cool little, anyway, I don't want to give anything away, but just go check that out. It's a really cool series. But um he's also just done a whole lot. He's passed at all the like major clubs. He hosts. I couldn't be more happy for our headliner. Like we're so blessed to have somebody like Sammy, but even the rest of the lineup. people are just so gassed up to work that I'm able to get people like Geneva Rust Orta, a Bay Area comic who kills, Avery Harmon, the guy who brought me into comedy. He's always got a spot there, and I'm still very lucky to get him for how much he's accomplished. But then Max Eddy as a feature, really, really awesome San Francisco comic that could be headlining himself, but just kind of wanted to come down and work with Sammy. So um, ridiculous lineup for the venue that we're performing at, and that's what we're trying to do, is bring like
Yeah.
crazy quality comics from all over the Bay. Make sure we support the South Bay, but also bring in some of the top talent from San Francisco and Oakland and other areas. So
That's what I was gonna say. It sounded like you were wanting to help out and support and lift the Bay up. Have a lot of the. So do you have people from say LA or
yeah, yeah. I
Central
mean,
California and all that?
yeah, I mean, the year out shows, we had a lady named Ali Makovsky who's from, like, she's working out of Los Angeles. I don't know if she's actually from there, but that's, she works at like Comedy Store and does a lot. Like, that's kind of the where you go to do
Mm-hmm.
comedy. And this other guy, Tom Clark, that I was telling you about, that from my very first show, he came and did a year out show, which was one of the best things I've ever seen in person. He like played catch with somebody on the field. It was hilarious. Um, but so they came up from LA. So yeah, we've been sprinkled in from a lot, and you'd be surprised, like when somebody comes into town from even like New York, we grabbed somebody who just happened to be around. Like they didn't come for
Right.
us, but we were able to piggyback some. So yeah, it's what I've noticed is comics want to work, and it's it doesn't cost as much at the right time as you would think. If you just ask and like, look, it's a good show, good venue, like here's the other comics that have done it. Like, I'd love to be able to pay you, $1,000, but like this
Right.
show is, X amount. But you get a beer and some food. If that works, it's 10 minutes, and you'd be amazed at who's like, yeah, I'll do it. But, it's a Wednesday. I'm not doing anything. I'll come by. I'm
I
like,
mean, you'd be amazed what anybody do for a beer.
well, now I've realized at what level of comic though, because I know when I get booked, I don't even ask how much. I just know, I just trust that it's going to be a little bit of money, probably a little bit of food or something like that. I know that it is a little bit. And so I know there's got to be more people like me, there's got to be way more of us that
You
are
just
just
know
I
that
don't,
you're gonna get hooked up.
yeah,
It's not just gonna be you're they're scratching their back, but they're not gonna scratch yours.
right.
You know that
And
it's
then
gonna be a team effort.
exactly, like if it's a great show and there's a lot of money involved, and I do, I'm like, okay, maybe I can get paid a little bit more. And when it's like a venue with nobody in there, I don't expect anything, like on a guest set. But there's I'm actually, it's cool. In the last few weeks I've been being pitched actual money to be booked on a show, not guest set. It feels
There
good,
you
man. People,
go. There you go.
yeah,
See,
man. I've never been more proud to be offered $25 in my life,
shoot. I mean, it's talking about the money, man. It's just people. You guys need to understand. You guys need to go to one of his shows. If he's hosting, if he's promoting it, if he's actually also doing it. It's funny, And then going back to the one you did at SP, speaking about money, your stimulus check was just. I'm just telling you, bro. This is when Bebes told me about you, dude. I was like, he promotes, Bebes doesn't, but he knows like good stuff. He knows when he sees it. So when he mentioned it, I was like, I gotta check him out. And so I just like took the leap, and dude, it cracked me up, bro. It
I
was the
have to say,
funniest thing.
though, like, there's something going on in comedy right now. I don't know. I can't put my finger on exactly why it's happening, but almost every comic that I'm watching is better than they were before the pandemic. There's like this weird passion and energy and like just like going for it that I'm seeing comics do.
They're going hard. There's a lot of people that are going hard right now.
Yeah, and it's not like, and even if it's not, because like me, I like physically go hard, right? Like I have a lot of energy, but there's other people who are just like, they're just hitting their beats just perfectly. Their rhythm is money, and I'm watching. I'm like, what's going on? And I don't know why, but like I just did a show on Tuesday in Rohnert Park at a place called Sally Tomatoes, fucking awesome place,
Mm-hmm.
and almost every comic I'd seen before, and I drove with a comic who went up before me. smashes. I was like, this is gonna be fun. And then this lady who, no joke, 79 years old, Pat Griffin, has amazing like material for, she plays like the aloof old lady like really well. She's sharp as a tack, but she plays like the, "Ooh, I don't know, I'm old" like thing on stage.
Hmm.
Kills it. And then I have to come up behind her. And I had like a really good set and I just felt awesome. And I'm like, this crowd is great. And I come off, every single comic was just killing. And I was like, and I knew the material. Like,
Hmm.
and I'm still laughing just because like of like how they were doing it and like the new facial expressions. And I had one of those nights at SB2 where I'm like, we feel different. I don't know. There's something more like I think maybe we appreciate the time better and we're like putting more of like our mental focus on it. But comedians are, comedians are hot right now. I suggest going to comedy shows, like just
Yeah.
in general.
I feel like it, for me, I've always said that laughter is the best medicine. And because of this whole pandemic and stuff, dude, a lot of people just got really depressed, lost their jobs and that. And you just started seeing a lot of the comedians just start doing online shows.
Yeah.
And dude, you just started seeing people like you're saying, people started going hard and going in, and people now it's just the comedy. I mean, dude, like I said, I had a great time. I ended up happy.
Yeah.
It was
Harry,
cool.
oh my gosh, dude! Like the headliner, he like
Hmm.
ran around the whole room. He was up there for like an hour and 15 minutes, man.
Yeah.
He was just, he
Yeah,
was
when
killing
he was walking up towards us, I was just like, man, I better be prepared if he says something, because
it.
I was like, am I looking cool? Is he gonna, what's he gonna make fun of and stuff? And then he literally just walks up and he goes, "What's up, man?"
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
he just
yeah,
goes, and I was
yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Oh yeah. Whew. No,
But I think he felt it. I think he probably like he feel. I can tell people feel the room, and who they can joke with,
right,
and
right,
this
right.
and that.
No, that's
Which brings me to a question that I've had, especially as you that are a comedian. Is it hard to be a comedian in this era when it comes to being PC, when it comes to being how cancel culture is, if you believe it exists or not?
right.
um is it harder in that form to be a comedian because you have to watch what you say,
Well,
or you just don't give a fuck, just you
no,
go with
no,
what
no,
you
no.
got?
Because like the thing is for me, I'll say this. So my the comics that I love that get me the most are the ones that say that thing
Hmm.
that make people go, "Ah, no, that's too much." And I'm like, no, but it's clever. Like it's really well written, you know? And I don't like blatant hate speech. I don't like, you know, but I genuinely like the comics that say the worst shit. Like Anthony Jeselnik, Jim Jeffries. There's a guy named Jimmy Carr, this British comic who
Mm.
is just a killer. And it's like short one-liners, but he says the worst shit. And I love those guys. But like you have to do it well and you have to be able to like look people in the face and say it and have them know that it's not coming from a place of hate. And so like even for me, so the first time someone told me that I should be a comedian was me doing a Vietnamese accent.
Hmm.
And I used to do it, but I don't anymore. And it was because I said, would I tell this joke in front of everyone, including a bunch of Vietnamese people? And the answer was no. So I was like, I got to find a way to be proud of this joke, even though it's like, using that accent. Because the accent is funny to some, but it's going to be, some people are going to be pissed. And pissed
Yeah.
is not the reaction I want. Maybe like, ew, or like, oh, but I don't want people pissed. Like, that's not the goal. And
Right.
so, but I will say, it's, there's a lot of open mics, there's a lot of free flow, there's a lot of stuff that's just kind of like shows where you're just kind of throwing stuff against the wall, and sometimes something comes out the wrong way and it's not what you meant. And there's got to be some wiggle room for that, and I think within the comedy community there is, because in those environments it's usually not filmed.
Right.
Or it's like just like audio for yourself, and people, you get off stage and you're like, that was dumb, I shouldn't have, why did I say that? And people are like, cool, no big deal, as long as you don't slip and say like the N word or something like that, you usually you know
Yeah.
can get a pass if you also have like a history of not doing that. But the comics that have been like blackballed from rooms, it's not because of things that they've said. I'll tell you that. Like people that are getting canceled in comedy, it's not for things that they're saying on stage. It's for things that they're doing off stage. And by that I mean like getting too drunk at the venue, um, just
Being
being
more of a disturbance than an actual
exactly
a
not
benefit of having them there.
exactly, being rude with the staff at the venue and not really even supporting the venue. Like people go to bars and like ask for water and like get and then just sit in the corner for like 3 hours and do their stage time and leave. And it's like, dude, don't don't talk to the service staff. If you're not contributing anything to their pockets, then just stay out of the way
Mm-hmm.
and don't go up to them and be like, yo, I need another water. Like, get the fuck out of here. Put a couple dollars down as a tip and then
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? At least. So anyway, I couldn't tell that was personal.
How does it make you feel? Do you need to vent more?
No, I'm good. But I don't think I don't know. I feel like we've got a good sense of what's right and wrong to say and what people's intentions are. But then
Mhm.
again, I'm not at a level where like I'm seeing exposure to so many people that don't know me, or like I'm not going into a room with 1,000 people at improv. I don't do that yet. So that's where you can get into trouble because there's just that many more opinions in the room that could go to the manager and say something. So, or could record you as flip a line or just the wrong way to make it seem bad.
And anything is so nowadays, it's so easy to be taken out of context.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like you don't know what run of material somebody was doing before that led up to that joke to make it something else, or,
Hmm.
or like you're referring about somebody else. So yeah, I don't know. It is. I haven't dealt with it yet, so maybe it just means I'm not cool enough. But I don't feel that at like the introductory level. But then again, I'm also not hearing stuff where I'm like, ooh, that's close. I'm not hearing that either. I'm hearing a
Yeah.
lot of like there's people accept a lot of dirty and weird and random stuff. Um, it just depends on who it's coming from and the platform it because I'd say some pretty wild shit and I get away with it in some weird venues.
Hmm.
Like old ladies love me, man. I don't know what it is. Ladies in their 70s absolutely love my material and I cannot understand why. I'm missing my target audience.
See, there you go. You got to find a Zoom class, the dancing Zoom, not the not the video one. They might have some older people there, and they might like when you while they're dancing, you doing they're making jokes. See, for me, dude, I personally and I've actually lost a couple friends because of the sense of humor that I enjoy.
Mhm,
I personally like dark humor,
mhm.
the dark humor, naughty humor, dirty humor. It's
I'll tell you the joke that's ruined a couple of friendships off air. But and it's not my joke. It's not my joke. It
yeah,
is a
yeah.
joke that I heard and I laughed at and I got in trouble for laughing at it. And I used to tell people it and be like, this is the worst joke. And I would say it and it got me in a lot of trouble with my fiance. So I don't even tell it like around anybody anymore.
Uh-huh.
So that's how good it is. So I'll tell that one to you off air, not recorded in person. We'll have to put our phones like the
We'll
lockbox
have
and
to show
walk
that
away.
it's turned off and everything. And
Yeah, exactly.
I have my safe right here. I'll throw it in the safe real quick.
I'll wand you for a wire, bro. I'm sorry. I'll want me for a wire, just so you
So it's
know,
that good, huh?
bro. It's that bad.
I think it'll just depend on who listens to it. Now,
Yeah,
cause see,
no.
like me, I like I said, I do dark humor, and I get it. I'm conscious that it's messed up. A lot of the jokes that I like that I hear they're just messed up. But there's some of it is just realization. You just need to be able to laugh at anything. You
Well,
know.
and the thing that I noticed too. So when something affects you directly, and there's some trauma there, I understand if you don't like a certain brand of area of humor. Like for
Mhm.
me, I'll open up a little bit. Like I don't care if people tell them, but I don't like suicide jokes because I
Mhm.
lost a friend to that stuff. And so when I hear it, it just reminds me of that. And so it puts me in a weird place to where I can't really laugh my ass off. And so do I don't like hearing them, but I'm not going to tell someone not to tell them.
Right.
And if they've got good ones and everyone else laughs at it, then I'm going to say go get it, like I'm not
You
that
do
person,
you.
but I'm a comic who also pushes the envelope, so it's not like fair for me to say that. But
Hmm.
I notice that within myself. So when I tell a joke that might affect somebody in a painful way like that, and they're like, don't care for that one. I'm like, I gotcha. You know, I appreciate that for you, and I'm not, and we have a dialogue, and
Right.
um, can't always do that. Some of that stuff's gonna start hurting people's feelings as I expand my audience, but you just have to believe in your material. You got to be like, look, I tell it for this reason. It's smart. It's this, or it's a part of my life.
Yeah.
Some of it's, let me tell my small dick jokes. Okay, this is what I get. All right, that's my only reward, is I get to make humor for it. All right,
Right.
the only positive thing about it is I get to joke about it and be like, that's me, homie.
I think that's what's even more funny when the comic is making fun of themselves before they make fun of other people, and then they're enjoying it themselves. You could tell that they enjoy their own jokes,
Yeah.
because you could tell when somebody's just trying to push a joke out, and they're probably not even feeling it.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, man. I need to write more material, like I really do, because now you've seen that. I've got maybe like another 6 minutes, 7 minutes that you haven't seen that's really good, and then a bunch of other 10 minutes that's like, I don't even know if I would bring it to SB2. I would just let somebody else host until I got some better shit going, like, or at
We'll make
least let.
sure we'll make sure to send you that dollar at Venmo so we can listen to those jokes.
You know what's funny is that thing that you saw, like with the tips at that thing, like, so I was actually at a show in Morgan Hill, and there was like, I was like the fourth or fifth comic up, and there was this tip jar sitting on a piano, and it's like at a restaurant, right? But
Mhm.
there's this tip jar empty as shit. And I do my little thing, right? And I'm like, didn't give him a dollar, didn't give him a dollar. And then people are kind of like mad at me. And then I just got them back. Like I was slowly pissing them off and then making them happy, and then pissing them off, making them happy. And you know why? You've seen my set, right? And so
Mhm.
so I'm doing that, and I had just got him back with my little, thing at the end, and I said didn't give him any money, and they're like, I was like, nothing. There's $0 in that tip jar right now. We're singing our asses off for you guys. So you can kiss my ass if you gonna boo me. Boo yourselves, you cheap asses, right? And so,
Yeah, yeah.
so then right away somebody comes up and puts some money in, and it's like the biggest laugh. And so then I've always tried to incorporate that some way, but it's not as funny with Venmo.
No, I thought it was the funniest thing, dude. It's like those quirky, and then like out of nowhere, you have to think about it, and then it's like, oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Like especially with your joke, how you said it, how it worked. It
yeah,
was just like, it made me think. I was like, that's right. Why, if I was doing the same thing, why
yeah,
wouldn't I want the same thing?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is funny, dude. That is crazy.
Some second level shit.
So when are you going to be promoting your so you have right now the out of left field, you have pick your poison coming up
Yeah, so I
16
picked.
and 16 and 17th
Yep, yep.
of this month. um
And then I'm gonna be other places too. I'm gonna be at Concord Tap House. Oh fuck, Concord Ale House, Concord Tap House. I always do this. They're gonna hate me. On the 22nd. Um, oh, actually, next Friday I'll be Santa Rosa. If anybody's in Santa Rosa, I'll be at Three Disciples. On the 11th.
on
Uh,
the 11th.
on the 11th. And they say the 16th is Zoom, Pick Your Poison Finals. 17th is out of left field at Excite Ballpark. 22nd, Concord Ale House, Tap House, and in Concord. And then the 28th, I'll be actually in Salinas at XL Public House as well. And then more to come, man. This has been hot boy summer, man. I'm getting booked. It's like I got some stuff in July coming up now too. This is great. I feel like an actual comedian.
And then I believe you had mentioned something about the 31st you're going to have at the SP.
The 30th,
The
brewery
30th.
backups, baby. We're back. I just literally got the news. Don't have. I've got a couple of the comics that I know wanted to do it, but we got to confirm all the dates. That's how breaking news this is. I literally
So,
don't even have the comics booked yet, but I'll have them by the end of the probably by the end of the day, if not the
so
end of the
see,
week.
just remember that it was announced here today.
It was. This is the literally the breaking news. Haven't even. I usually like to tease it where I just put like a picture up with a date
Hmm.
and the thing. And I haven't even done that yet. This
So
is
I'll
literally
wait a little bit before I post it, so
nah,
that way.
nah. I don't care. You post it whenever you want, bro. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this is the actual breaking news. I know I'm gonna have a re. The people that I had booked before the pandemic as headliners are all starting willing to come back. And so I've got a list of a couple of folks that could headline that, I'm no matter who we get, I'm already geeked because of what we had going on before. And the fact that we're gonna do it the way we did in the restaurant, people are eating, wireless mic, you can run up and take someone's Brussels sprouts out of their freaking table if you want to. I mean, don't do that. Don't do that.
No,
Comics that listen to this, don't do that. But I'm glad that we did one already too, so I could tell the comics, like, work that room, walk around, talk to people, engage with them, because this is like a dinner and a show. It's not just like sitting down and
crowd
going
work.
to a club.
You got to do that crowd work.
Yeah. You got to come ready to engage with people. So I'm bringing comics that can do that, or at least ones that's material leaves avenues open for it.
Hmm.
Because there's some pros that, like, they have their bits, but no matter what, there's those lanes where they say something and they know the audience is gonna kind of clamor, and so they jump on those opportunities. I haven't used my tricks like that in a while, so I'm gonna have to for the next one.
See, I mean, personally, I like the crowd work. The
Yeah.
guy, your headliner that you had at SP2, that was
Terry
awesome. That was
Dorsey, yeah, man,
what
he's
people
my
need to do is me speaking for not the people that are going to the events. I feel like you need to go at least with an open mind when it comes to the comedian doing crowd work. It's
yeah.
because I like I said, I was like, I wasn't that I was tense. I was just kind of like, dude, I was like, oh, I wonder if he's gonna joke about this or he's gonna joke about that. It's like, I mean, me, I'll play with it, whatever.
Right.
But some people might just be like, yo, I don't want you joking about this. But how's the comedian supposed to know? I
Right.
feel
That
like people
was
just
funny that when I started to, because you go to shows and you watch stuff, but then when you become a comic, you consume shows very differently, right? And so I went to
mhm.
a show with my mom, and she wanted to go early and be front row. She was super excited for the headliner, and so we sat, like, we were dead middle at San Jose Improv, first row, first table, just there. I'm like, I know we're gonna get smacked by one of these comics, right? And so one of the comics comes up and he starts going table to table in the front row, and so I'm just going, okay, we're coming up. What's he gonna do to us, right? And so he points at me and my mom and he goes, "Are you two fucking?" And I just, I like, what so I just go, "Dude, it's my mom." And he goes, "You didn't say no." And then he just moves on to the next person. But it was like, what I liked about it is he didn't engage with you long enough to make it an uncomfortable situation for you, no matter what he said. It was like, set you up, knock you down, move over. And then, like, no, the spotlight's never on you long enough for you to, like, really be like, oh my God, stop talking to me. It
And
was
then everybody
perfect.
else enjoys it.
Yeah. And the
It's
thing
a
was,
fun
like,
for everybody.
we were still laughing at the first thing he said to the people to the left of it, you know what I mean? And then he
Yeah.
gets us, and so we're kind of caught off guard. And then before we can be embarrassed, we're already laughing at the person next to us. Like, it was perfect. And so I'm like, you know what? I need to work on that. Like, I want to do those where, because I had some that make people feel like a little uncomfortable. And if you grab the wrong person, it's like terrible. But when you get the right person, it literally makes the whole show. Like, I used to do a joke about, like, vegans, and, like, it was kind of dirty or whatever, and you'd point at somebody, be like, "Oh, are you a vegan?" They're like, "No." I'd be like, "Oh, so the other dirty thing I just said is what you relate to?" And they would be like, "Ew, no," and it would be like, it'd be a perfect little back and forth, but somebody would just be like, "That's disgusting," and you'd be like, "Oh, my bad. Okay, so that, if I feel awkward now, just ruin the whole show." This lady walks out, and you're like, "That's a lesson as a comic."
Who do
Walking
you
somebody, my favorite.
yeah. Who do you feel right now is I don't want to say the GOAT, but who's doing the best work right now for a crowd work for you? Either be somebody that's actually big and famous or somebody coming up. Who's somebody to you that you see that's is really good at the crowd work?
Well, I got a couple of answers. And they're just based on, like, experience. Terry, the one that you saw, I booked him because I knew he could do that and that he has done that. So, like, he, to me, on this scene in the San Jose Bay Area, like, not just San Jose, like, whole Bay Area,
Yeah.
he's, as far as people that I've watched, he's the best at kind of this level. And he can really, like, go for 2 hours, like, just on, like, grabbing stuff. It's amazing. Now, got to give it to Andrew Schultz for what he's done, on so many different levels.
He's
And I think,
definitely on my top.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially for that, like, crowd work, especially he did, like, specials on it. But somebody that I saw, it was at Rooster T. Feathers, was Moses Storm, and he's been on a couple of TV shows. I wish I knew his credits better, but I don't. But he's on TV, and he did a set at Roosters that was completely. There was no way he wrote any of it. He went like, I couldn't tell you how long, maybe 30, 40 minutes, not a single joke, and it was all hilarious. And it
Off
was
the
a
dome.
yeah, it was like equivalent to seeing just a freestyle where you're like, somebody's like rapping in the room, but it's still dope. You're like, wait, what? How did you the San Jose? How
Yeah.
did you say San Jose hat? Like what? You know what I mean? Like it was pretty good. And he touched almost every part of the room. He came at me and I like wasn't being funny enough for him. He's like, "You're fucking boring," and he just like went back to these like batch. But it was great. It was like perfect way to deal with me because
If he only knew now.
right, right, right. Well, the thing was, I was like, I was a comic, but he just wasn't getting. He just would. He was asking me about my beer, and then he said, "Oh, this tastes like Blue Moon," and it was an IPA. And I was like, "Nah." He's like, "Okay, you're not funny. I'm good. I'm going over here." Um, but yeah, Moses Storm, I've heard, like, just kind of lives in the room when he does shows, and I witnessed it once, and now the reputation around that too, like, kind of builds up the lore. So I think he's probably underrated for that specifically.
And you said the name was Moses Storm.
Moses Storm, yeah,
I'll
he's
definitely have to check him out.
yeah. Like I say, I wish I knew a little bit more of his TV credits and other stuff, but he's I'm sure he's been on Conan and all those types of things too, relative to everything else. But um, yeah, another comic told me that he like spilled a beer, cleaned it up with his sock, and then drank it out of the sock on one show. I'm like, that's wild. And he's like, when you look at him, you wouldn't think he was that comic. You're like,
Yeah,
whoa, what the fuck did you just do?
a straight sleeper. You
He's a
just did not
wild boy.
expect it.
He's a wild boy. And I can appreciate that. Sometimes I feel like I want to unleash like that, but then I look at my fiance's in the crowd and I'm like, okay, I'll be good.
Oh, see, that's crazy, dude. So how do you react to? Have you had any really bad situations with hecklers?
um so I'll say this. There's a show in San Jose. It's like it was well, hopefully I hope it comes back soon. It was a Cafe Stritch, the Go Go Gone show. It was like every Wednesday and it was open talent. Like you could dance, you could sing or do music, and most of it was comedy. I think it's kind of gone back and forth, but I feel like the most part it's comedy. Good chunk musicians. Sometimes people would like read poetry or do some other kind of like performance art stuff. That'd be rare, but that you get 3 minutes and 33 seconds. And I went up my very first time, and my opening line was, I pulled my dick out at a party the other day and immediately got gonged. And I think I have the record for fastest gong ever because I just like literally said one line and they gonged me. And then so I went back another two times. The second time I went up, I got gonged because I was still super nervous and I was just shitty. The next time I made it through, but I got like fives and sixes on my score because you have three judges that'll give you a score if you get past your 333.
Hmm.
So I actually got a score. I was like, wow. But I did horrible. I didn't think I was funny. I just didn't get gonged. And then the next time I went out, I was killing. And I was like just destroying. And then I was literally telling the last part of the last joke, and two guys in the corner just yelled, "Go, go!" And so one of the comics, the one of the judges gonged me with like 2 seconds to go. And like the whole crowd besides those two guys was like, "What?" And I was like, "Wait." And then cool part was I walked off stage and a lot of people that I know were like, "Yo, fuck that." That was, I got a lot of good, and I knew I did well. So that was my, I think, only like heckler experience that was bad because most of the time my heckler experiences were pretty good. Like I take it pretty well because I'm very self-deprecating anyway. So when somebody roasts me and it's funnier than something I've said, like I I just like take it like I'm like, oh, I like fall to the ground or like I like act like it just you just roll with it. So
Yeah, you don't take it to heart. You're like, all right, you got me. That was.
but I make even like you get me bad, like you win, you just, like just some on some weirdo shit. But like at a cafe once, I was telling one of my jokes and one of the bits was you point at somebody who looks upset and just be like, "Oh, you hate that joke, don't you?" So I'm doing my bits, and I see this lady in the crowd who's obviously not into the jokes, and I'm like, "You hate this joke, don't you?" She goes, "No, I just heard it last week," and and it was very true, and I just like was like, "Nah," and like the whole place erupted laughing, and so I just like kept trying to start my set but couldn't, and it was like that was the funniest thing I could do, but it worked. Um,
Yeah.
and even when I tried to finish, I finally started a new joke, and I was like, started up with the setup line, and I pointed at her and I was like, "Shut the fuck up. I know you know this one too. Just be quiet." But then like everybody laughed at that, and I couldn't even tell the last joke because my time was up from people laughing at what she said. But I didn't care that it came from somewhere else and it was a heckle. I just got laughs on stage. That's the whole point, right? Is that the
Yeah.
crowd is entertained. So even if I set her up to make me look like an idiot, that's what everybody wanted anyway. So we win. You know?
That's so cool, dude. So do you enjoy being more of the comedic promoter promoting shows for comedy, or do you prefer being in the actual show itself and being one of the features? Like say if you had your own show where it was just you doing your own little set, would you prefer that, or do you like more of promoting and having your name say you're the one that's bringing all this for other people?
You know, I battle this a lot because if you look at something, if and we don't do this with everything, and I don't either, and so I'm kind of don't I'm not trying to sound super prophetic or super like organized and planning, or like my head's all together. I'm just regurgitating stuff I know people are supposed to do. Okay, so I'm not trying to make myself seem holier than anybody, but with comedy, I really tried to look at it at like 10,000 feet
Mm-hmm.
instead of when's the next gig or what's my next step. What's the next little inch I need to make. I said, what am I doing here? I'm in my 30s. I've got these other things going on. If you jump into this, like I do with most things, I crazy obsess about it. And that's just who I am. Like, even with stuff like fantasy football, now I've got like a freaking Twitch channel for fantasy football, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like I get
Yeah.
into it. So I had to look at it from like, okay, where do you go from here? Are you trying to be a famous comedian? Are you trying to be Jim Jeffries or these people that you see? And I'm like, okay, well, what are the steps for that? You got to go here, you got to do this, that. And then eventually I got to a point where I said, I'm not going to travel all over the United States in a bus schlepping gigs at that point in my career when that's what it takes. Because
Yeah.
there is a point where you can make good money to do your comedy, but you have to go lots of places because there aren't lots of venues in the same little nook and crannies that pay $1,000 or $1,500 or three
Yep.
thousand dollars in a hotel. Like, not a lot of places do that, so you have to go everywhere. And I knew with who I am as a person, what I'd already kind of entrenched myself in being as someone just on my personal side, that wasn't going to be something I pursued. So realistically, my bigger goal is to have a venue that's Comedy Store esque in the South Bay, a place that's like got multiple places to perform, a place that's just got a bar, where you can just go there and there's like open mics and stuff in one area, but then there might be a headliner that you've heard of performing in another room that you can buy tickets for, or then like another little room that's like also for shows, but it's a little bit more intimate, or it's open mic for pros as opposed to like, but I don't know, just give an environment where if you show up in San Jose and someone goes, I want to do comedy, you can always say, go there any night of the week. And there'll
Mm-hmm.
be some kind of vibe and some kind of, it might be dingy ass 7 people dive bar feel, but it'll be there. And I think ultimately that's what I want to do. Cause I think I'm going to be here for a long time. And I don't want to spend 8 months out of my life traveling. And not that I would even get to that level talent wise anyway,
Nah, you're gonna get up there, bro.
you know what I mean, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so once it gets to that point, I might travel a little bit, but I'm never going to be that guy that hits the road all the time. So if I come up as a comedian, it's going to be here, or like the travel that is within my pocket. Like, I go to Idaho to visit family. I got my goddaughters and my cousin and a lot of family out there. There's a great comedy scene. So if I'm going to go visit them, I'm probably going to make my trip longer and do some shows while I'm there. If I go visit my friends in Denver, same thing. But outside of those things, I gotta save those. I gotta travel with my family and and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's too important. I don't want to ever lose sight of that part.
Nah, you're that's interesting. You I can tell that you definitely love the art of comedy. You love the getting the laughs. You love interacting with everybody. And that's why I think, you know what, dude, this dude's gonna nah, he's good.
Yeah,
He's
well,
gonna make some.
well, and like I guess to try to answer the question that you originally asked, like I love having shows to produce. I really do. But I also enjoy being able to go to a venue and just be there to do my time, be friendly with guests and not have the responsibility of having to go up every 10 minutes. Like I enjoy both. And so having SP2 and then the out of left field, Ruben and I kind of share that where it's like one time he kind of takes it and next time I
Mhm.
kind of take it. So it's almost every other month. Pick Your Poison is monthly, but we both work on that together. And now we're starting to do some gradual shows by ourselves, but where we also have other partners that help it so that we're only doing that maybe once a month or once every 2 months, really. And so that you're really only in charge of like 4 or 5 shows, but that then allows you to go be a part of other people's shows to where you can get paid more and do less because as
Yeah.
the producer, like I pay everybody first. I don't make money off SP2.
Mhm.
Um, Now I get to eat there and I get to drink. So in essence, I do make money, but I, with what we do get in as payment, I pay the comics because some of them are coming from San Francisco, you know what I mean? And I want to make sure they get their value and I get good comics. I'd rather pay out more to get a better show than pay less and have the quality of comic come down because you can't do that with that show. It's too
Right.
much. So um
Without the comics, you're not gonna have a show.
right. And if they're good, then people come back. And when they know there's new comics every month, it's something that you can come back to. And so to be honest, I might host this one, but I might only do like 3 minutes of material and have another comic on because I want to make sure that it stays fresh if there's an audience that's all back. And then in 2 months, when we do the next one in July, hopefully, I'll have a little bit more of a 10-minute set that's new and relevant that I can smash on. Um, but yeah, it's I like both because I think I need that balance and I need to learn from what other people are doing so that when I put on a show, I can be like, yo, I saw what happened here. And now I know that's something I want to add to my show. Like I want to record sets. I either need to buy a camera or find somebody with a camera, high quality, and just like record everything and then give them the opportunity to have that. Cause it really is just like a luxury to have your stuff filmed so you can have your own cell phone in your pocket and you don't have to worry about somebody kicking your tripod or some shit. Like
Right.
if it's done high quality. This one at Sally Tomatoes, this dude had like a freaking looked like a movie camera set
Full
up
set.
and was like, "Here's my email. Contact me and we can work out getting your set." And I was like, "Man, I want to do that." Not with that, I'm not trying to get some like 5,000, but
Yeah.
hopefully there's somebody around that's got a camera that knows how that function works and then we can add that to the show because um, I just feel like that's awesome for the comics and that's helped get better quality people. I've noticed the more accommodations you make outside of whatever you agree to pay them, the more like just helps even more.
Yeah.
When I get a hotel for somebody, I try to get a nice hotel from a friend because he hooked me up with the friends and family, and it's like only $20 more than what the motel would be. But then they're like, "Yo, he put me in a Hotel Valencia," and you're like, "Oh, that's cool." And so if you can do like I learned that from other comics, so you only get that if you start performing at other shows and being a part of them. So I think for now I need to grind on both, but there will be a point where I'm just kind of a host of a place. That's what I would rather do, so I could be here.
You're definitely into the sharing is caring at moment.
I can't do it all. I can't. I'm just not the guy. I'm not,
Yeah.
and I don't mind it. There are things I think I'm good at and can contribute to the industry, and I think some people try to be producers and comics, and it takes away from their comedy, because running a show is tough, and it's a whole nother part of the business that you won't need later as a comic. Like, if you're really good, you're not gonna have to make flyers. you know, you're not gonna have to, like, you can just post on your Instagram when you got 30K followers for a local show, and you're gonna get your 30, 40, 50 people to show up. So I'm hoping that if somebody starts taking on the role of having a place where everyone can go to, not need to be full on producers, they can start being better comics. And there's just so many people around here that I want to see. Like, there's some great talent here, man. I mean, it might be 5 years, 10 years away for some of them, but there's some guys here and some gals here, some just people in this area that are murderers, and they just need more time. And I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Well, we'll definitely be able to see them if you continue doing your stuff. You keep doing your shows, man.
Yep. Well, and there's another guy in San Jose too. I want to shout him out, Atu Walker. He's doing a great show at a place called Level Up Monthly, and it's an amazing setup. This is like a real deal Holyfield show. So, I think it's, if you just search him out, Atu Walker, ATO Walker. He's on the social medias. Great dude. He's
Yeah.
OG. He laid the groundwork for people like me. Pete Munoz, another guy in the South Bay that's putting on a lot of great shows. Those guys really help motivate me, because I say they've been around a lot longer. They've got that much more experience, that many more connections, and are just keep raising the bar for the rest of us. And I'm really pumped that there's all three of us, and more. I'm forgetting some. So whoever's in the South Bay listen to this says, "Oh, you didn't mention me." I'm so sorry. You guys are all awesome. But but yeah, like, there's so many other people doing it that it's nice, because we can kind of see who's booking who, and just like really work together with those things, and really make sure that we're bringing a good product, like, as a whole, to the South Bay. And yeah, man,
And
I love,
representing the South Bay properly too.
yeah, man. And we're getting, like I say, we do South Bay comics, and then we bring talent from other places, which is really smart. Everyone's still taking care of their backyard, while also bringing in the highest quality talent from everywhere, because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much good comics out there. We do have to bring them in, but while always being mindful to take care of the ones that are grinding and doing awesome stuff here. And both those people always take care of their day ones right away and put them on, and again, push those people. You got to be ready. You can't just be their friend for a long time and not have good material. You got to make sure you're fucking killing it. What I mean?
Right.
But no, they both lift up the South Bay a lot. And again, like, hate to repeat myself, but they definitely raised the bar for someone like myself to do more at my shows and add these elements, like lighting and music and photos and all these things. When you start adding them, just make a high quality show, and you see them do that, and you're like, oh damn, why didn't I think goddamn why didn't I think of that?
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you giving me some time. And where we can find you at BMO makes you laugh on
That's
Instagram.
right. On Instagram, that's the best place. That's where I put almost everything. If you like sports, and want to listen to me once a week blabber on about some sports, or if you like like fantasy sports and you want to just kind of join in on Twitch, it's 100 BTV. Usually Thursdays, I jump on for a few hours, but again, if you're like a fantasy sports person and you're super nerdy and obscure like me, then come on over to that. But BMO makes you laugh on Instagram is fine.
And then you could also follow him at Pick Your Poison Comedy on Instagram for updates. As you can see
That's
there at
right.
the
That's
bottom.
right. Hey, look at you. You're
Look
being
at see,
better at the
oh,
promo than
bro.
me. Pick your poison. That's specific for those shows. But yeah, those
Mhm.
check that one out for the Zoom show, because no matter where you are, you can attend that one, and it's free. We will beg for money during the show. Make no mistake about it, because that's what every free show does. But it is free to watch on Zoom on the 16th. So if you go to Pick Your Poison Comedy on Instagram, you can get the link to that.
There you go. June 16th on Zoom. And then we got June 17th at the Excite Park.
Excite Park. That's on the. You can search that on Facebook events, Excite Ballpark, or on that Instagram. BMO makes you laugh. There's a link in my bio. But yeah, the 17th, Sammy Obeid from Netflix and every club that you could name around the Bay Area. Monster comedian Max Eddy, Geneva Rust Orta, Avery Harmon. And you know what? BMO might tell some jokes too. You never know. I might have to tell a joke or two. So that'll be a good one. And then the rest of them are all way out of town. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see posts for that coming up. So But hey, what's your Instagram? And people better be following your shit. If I'm posting this video, you better start following this podcast. What is it? Tell me that.
It's
I'm
the
gonna
Nuestra
post
Life podcast on Instagram.
Nuestra. I can't do that. Nuestra. I can't do that with my. See, that's how you tell I'm white. Nuestra. Um, but I'll put that up.
Well, it's a play on Spanish and English. It's our life. So it's nuestra. It could have been nuestra vida, our life, but I decided because I will be having some Spanish speaking people on here too. Oh man, no paparazzi, bro.
Yeah, got
But
you.
you know,
Got you.
I'm gonna send you my Venmo because I pay for those, like the guys in Hollywood that dress up in costume on Hollywood
Don't
Boulevard.
we'll just exchange dollars on Venmo for my singing and for your picture, and then we're even, right?
There you go. Well, the first one's gonna be free. The first one's on the house.
Okay, first, yeah, I know
There you
how
go.
that works. I know how that game works. I try that all the time. No, come on in. It's free. Sure. Yeah, here, but give me money.
I'll try to get you a beer and
yeah,
some
I'll get
food.
you a beer and some French fries. That'll be good.
But yeah, you can follow the podcast on Spotify, on Anchor.fm, on YouTube, all under the same handle, which is the Nuestra Life podcast. You can also follow my personal Instagram at Mr. Vargas23, and we'll be having this out shortly. And let me know who you guys want to have next on the episode.
Ruben Escobedo.
There
The
you
third.
go.
There's three of them. I'll link you up.
1, 2, 3. Now there's 3.
But if anything, man, we'll he'll be performing at one of the shows soon. We'll get you over to see Ruben, meet him, stuff like that, and then you can get him on a future podcast. But he's got some stories, man. He's a funny dude. Hey, thanks again for having me, though. This was a lot of fun, man. This really
no,
was.
man. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed your guys' set that you guys had, and I want to give a special shout out to Bebes. Special shout out to the SB2 crew.
Double that.
And all the and your whole the crew that you had performing that night. It was top notch people. I had a blast. I can't wait to go to the next one.
Absolutely. We'll see you on the 30th.
There you go. All right, guys. Appreciate it.